Recently, Brittney Griner was released from Russian prison in exchange for Victor Bout. Let's talk about it.
Here's Griner going in for the throwdown. Houston rumbling through, finds Griner for the dunk, and that's what the sellout crowd was waiting for. Zargon finding Griner! Slam dunk. As Griner comes up with a steal and maybe a little showtime. Brittney Griner, the two-handed finish.
Over to Griner, who dunks it in!
Griner goes flying in with the two-handed jam right on cue.
First things first, shout out to Brittney Griner. I'm glad she's free. You know, as a general rule, I don't support extended prison sentences for nonviolent offenders. So shout out to Brittney Griner. I definitely am glad she's free. But today I kind of wanted to talk about whether or not this was a good deal that America and specifically Joe Biden has just made. You know, keep in mind, we are in the middle of a proxy war. U.S. and Russia are in the middle of a proxy war via Ukraine. There's a lot of tension, nuclear Cold War right now we are in the midst of. And to allow an arms dealer like Victor Bout to go free in exchange for an athlete or an entertainer for that matter, on the face of it, it seems like a bad deal. So recently, Brittney Griner in this deal has made headlines. Let's check out this article. CNN headlines read, Victor Bout, Russian arms dealer known as the Merchant of Death, swapped for Brittney Griner. You can see here a picture of Victor Bout. Mind you, a movie, Lord of War, was made after this man. He's infamous for selling, trading military arms across Africa and the Middle East. The article continues. Brittney Griner's freedom ultimately hinged on the release of a convicted Russian arms dealer whose life story inspired a Hollywood film. That's the Lord of War film I mentioned earlier. The U.S. basketball star was released on Thursday from Russian detention in a prisoner swap for Victor Bout, nicknamed the Merchant of Death by his accusers. Bout, a former Soviet military officer, was serving a 25-year prison sentence in the United States on charges of conspiring to kill Americans, acquire and export anti-aircraft missiles, and provide material support to a terrorist organization, although Bout has maintained he is innocent. Let's just sum this up in layman's terms, just so we all understand the situation of what actually happened. On February 17th, Brittney Griner was arrested in an airport near Moscow. The charges was that she carried a vape pen that contained THC. So basically, I think by now everyone knows those weed pens people smoke on. She didn't have marijuana, but THC in any form in Russia is illegal. So she was caught at the airport with THC pen cartridges. A week later, Russia decides to invade Ukraine. I don't think those two situations are necessarily related. I think that Russia had already planned on invading Ukraine by this time. But having Brittney Griner as a recent detainee, I'm sure that gave Putin some leverage as at the time. Rewind before that time, though. Victor Bout, the Russian arms dealer, he was in prison since 2008. They caught him in Thailand, in a sting operation in Thailand. So he was serving a 25-year bid. He's been in prison since 2008. And he gets the good news in 2022 that some athlete was smoking THC pens and he might get his freedom. Can you just imagine how happy Victor Bout was at that moment, knowing that his home country, Russia, was currently in a war, and he as an arms dealer would be getting out the same year that his country decided to invade? Talk about a fortunate turn of events for Victor Bout. So, as I said in the beginning of this video, I am happy that Brittney Griner is free. She's able to spend time with her family. She's back home on American soil where she's safe. So I am happy to hear that. But this situation has me a little conflicted for two reasons. Number one, there are millions of people, black, white, everything in between, in prison in the United States for nonviolent drug offenses. Marijuana, whether it be marijuana or something stronger like cocaine, LSD. I think that nonviolent drug offenses should not cause extended penitentiary time. I think that, if anything, it should cause rehab, mandatory rehabilitation. Cold turkey facilities should be authorized and designated solely for drug users, drug offenses, nonviolent drug offenses. But I don't hear a lot of outrage. I don't hear a lot of outcry trying to change our judicial system here in America. But we're ready to release murderous arms dealers in the middle of a war to get a drug offender out of a foreign country. So there's a little bit of hypocrisy there. That's number one. The second thing that I take issue with is the fact that, because we know this is just a blatantly bad deal, I think originally Biden was trying to negotiate to get a U.S. veteran and Brittney Griner out in exchange for Victor Bout. I think that would have been a little bit more fair, because then you're getting two militants. You're exchanging two militant actors, two soldiers. It's a prisoners of war swap. Two soldiers would be swapping, and Brittney Griner would just be an extra to sweeten the deal. Whereas in this situation, you're basically saying an entertainer and athlete is the same as an arms dealer as it relates to their value in a society. And although I like basketball as much as the next guy, I think that soldiers have the ability, especially infamous ones like Victor Bout, have the ability to change the direction of a war. And that's a little bit bigger than just an athlete who, truth be told, committed a crime. And I believe she did it knowingly. I think that keep in mind, Brittney Griner she plays basketball in Russia during the WNBA off seasons. So this isn't her first time going to Russia. I think she's gotten used to, over the years, bringing these vape pens in. I doubt this is her first time. I think she's done it before, and she's just gotten a pass. Nobody really pressured her or detained her, even though they saw they were vape pens. They never tested to see if they were nicotine or THC. But now, with the current environment being one of similar to the Cold War, the airports in Moscow are probably a little bit more strict. And although she has done this before, this is just the first time she's getting caught. Hey, I have no way to prove that, but that's just what I suspect. So the problem that I have is the reasoning behind taking this bad deal. If we all agree that this is a bad deal and a basketball player shouldn't be exchanged for an arms dealer, if that's the case, if we can agree to that, hypothetically speaking, then why would Biden make this deal? I believe that the Democrats, not just Joe Biden, not just Kamala Harris, but the Democrats as a party, are so used to giving symbolic victories in place of actual tangible benefits to voting for them. They needed this situation to play out as it did. Brittney Griner is the perfect candidate for the Democrats to put the cape on for. Let's see, she's a woman. She's a black woman, so she's a woman, quote unquote, of color. I hate that term, but she's a black woman, and she's gay. So that's like a trifecta as far as the Democrats are concerned. By benefiting Brittney Griner, the next election in 2024, they can say, hey, did you see what Biden do for black people? He got Brittney Griner out of prison. As if that's beneficial for all of black society. As if that's beneficial for women. as if that's beneficial for the gay community. Supporting one person, making an unfair deal in favor of one person is supposed to unite all three of these communities. And I just don't see it playing out like that. I think that if the Democrats want to garner the black support especially, they're going to have to come with some tangibles, some things that are specific to the black community that they can hold up and say, this is legitimately going to change and affect your life. I know the reparations coalition is moving strong. The movement for reparations is gaining momentum, and I'm a supporter of that. I'm going to make a video talking about my stance on reparations on another day. But if that's not in the immediate future, there are other things that could also be supported by the Biden administration in order to garner black support. Things like reducing all of these foreign wars. We're giving billions of dollars to Ukraine without any congressional support, Congress is supporting it, unfortunately, but without it lining up with the will of the people. We're giving billions of dollars, and there's talk of giving reparations to illegal immigrants who have illegally crossed the border. Because they were sent home after illegally crossing the U.S. border, they are petitioning for reparations. And I wouldn't be surprised, as a spit in the black community's face, if they got it before us. I think something could be done about illegal immigration. Something could be done to reduce these foreign wars. Something could be done to stop or greatly reduce jobs being exported overseas to countries like India and China. These are economics. It's economics, stupid. Economics affects the black community. And by fixing some of these situations, it would definitely get the Biden administration and the Democrats more support than would freeing one individual who really doesn't have that much of an effect on the community as a whole. But the Democrats are unwilling or unable to provide any tangible support, any tangible benefits to the black community. So they rest on symbolic victories like what we have here with Brittney Griner. But hey, that's just what I think. Tell me if I'm wrong. Leave it in the comments section. If you're new, be sure to subscribe. I make a video every day. I appreciate your support and I appreciate your participation. Hit the like button. Leave a comment if you disagree or if you agree with my video. And if you're new, definitely hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you all. Peace.